kit, this has a full like interior cockpit that I had to paint up like as a separate kit. I painted it, I weathered it, I built it, I put decals on it, and then I put it inside and wrapped it all up, and then built the rest of the model around it. So it's like building 2 models at once. All right, so after building the cockpit, I started with the gray parts, which are the light green parts in the kit. And I paint them in the exploded method, one at a time. It's gray, 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 gray. All right? The next thing I did is paint the base camouflage color, which is the tan color and the camouflage. And those I also painted in the exploded method, making sure I got paint on all possible surfaces. The reason being that even after you put it together, this is like the underside of some armor flaps. Well, if you pose the model a certain way or look at the model a certain way, I want to make sure I got paint everywhere. So you never looked at it from any direction and saw the plastic green. All right, so I painted those all separately so I could get paint on every single surface, then put them together. After putting them together with the outside-in method around the frameworks, I then proceeded to draw out the camouflage pattern and spray the camouflage freehand over parts at once, because it would never be possible to paint this little piece of camouflage here and then on this piece and make them all match. So I put them all together and go over all the pieces at once.
Fuck you.
I like this guy. He's a funny guy.
Thank you.
All right. After painting camouflage, then I added the gray parts back onto it where they were integral. So, like this foot has the camouflage, but it also had some gray pieces on top of it. I also assembled this gray thigh. That way all of our major sub-assemblies are put together now and painted. And now I can start some weathering techniques. And again, I want the weathering techniques to cover all the surfaces uniformly. So I had like a dot filter where you put little dots of oil paint of multiple colors, and then you take some thinner and a big brush and you kind of like basically mix them all up. So you get a little tonal variations. So instead of being all the same color gray, you get up here a little yellowish gray, a little tannish gray, a little greenish gray, a little bluish gray. And I don't even know where mine going with like my whole talk. What do you mean tonal variations? Where are you going with this? I don't get it. Pay attention, white boy. Okay, so after doing some weathering techniques, I then take it all back apart again, all right? And then I go back to my internal frame. And again, every piece goes on the skewer. And I paint it in the exploded method, and I'm on this basic gray color. And then for interest, I put what's called a track wash. There's a lot of weathering products you can now buy off the shelf, which is nice. Because back in the day, you'd have to like buy chalk pastels and grind up the pastel into powder. Or you'd have to like buy artist oil paints and mix up your own washes. Now you can buy these products off the shelf and ready to go. So there's this thing called track wash. It comes in a bottle. I shake up the bottle, I smear it all over the parts. It gives us this nice, uneven, greasy texture. It looks like real life grime. All right? So I give everything a track wash, and after that I put the internals back together. We're those Gundam guys. We only build Gundam.
That's right.
All right.
You have to talk in the mic, not me.
Hey, tomorrow's panels. They didn't see me do that. They're looking out the door.
The other guy did.
Alrighty. So after painting everything, giving the outside a basic weathering and the inside a basic weathering, I put the whole thing together and give it some more weathering. I call this the unified weathering. For instance, there are a lot of mud splatters on this, where I literally took a product called mud splatters, and I put it on a brush and go, and I take the model whole and kind of tip it back towards feet are facing me, and then I just dump it. Then I splatter the mud on it from the feet up, like real mud would be splattered on it. So that most of the mud ends up down here on the feet, then you get a little more up here, and then you only get a little up here on the chest. It's most of it here. All right, the other thing I did is some dust effects down here, which again, I heavily dusted the feet and had less and less dust going up because this thing's, it's not this high off the ground. If this thing's 20 feet tall, then only the bottom of it's really going to get dusty. The other thing I did is up top, I did some streaking of like rain streak effects. And again, that's an out of the bottle product you can buy called rain streaks. So in the end, this is what you get. So all the weather techniques include like the mud splatters, the rain streaks. I do a lot of paint chips, where I get this dark brown acrylic color, put it on a toothpick, because it's a hard thing. Because real paint chips come from something hard hitting an object. If you go to a construction site, you can see the tractors are beat up. You know, most tractors are painted like a bright yellowy orange color. But if you look at where the paint has been chipped off, it's not bright silver, even though it's metal. It's this dark brown, deep rust steel color. So I found a color like that, got it on a toothpick, and kind of jabbed the toothpick at the model. And that way, instead of hitting like a brush stroke and leaving like a dab of paint, it leaves this like hard of paint. I don't know what, there's not a word for that. But a toothpick jabbed up against the model leaves a different shaped mark than a soft brush pushed up against the model, which is why I like to use a toothpick or some kind of harder object for weathering and paint chipping. All right, this is, for those who have cell phones with barcode readers, this QR code will take you to my tutorial. It's about 140 pages. It's a PDF you can download for free. It covers everything we're talking about tonight. It takes you basically from cutting parts off the screws, sanding them, gluing them, using putty, priming your model, how to mix paints, how to set up your airbrush, applying clear coats, masking, decals, panel line washes, some very basic weathering techniques. And then on my website as well, I have more weathering techniques, including more advanced weathering, decal design, scratch building, and I think that's it. There's everything I've learned over the years. I've kind of dumped on the various tutorials, but this is the big one. It's going to cover all of your basic techniques and then some, and even like photographing your models or whatever.
I like how trustworthy these guys are to click a link that we're posting up here before you guys to download something. Thank you, credit cards.
Not like we have anything in them anyway.
You guys are at Anime Expo and in our panel, yes.
Yeah, by day 3, you guys are white.
So, one of those things that we like to talk about is a clear gloss or a clear coat over your parts when you're painting. So we're going to go talk about, pick on this guy again. So this guy has this, you built this really nice, it looks cool, right? It looks fucking sick, right? But as modelers, we're very, very jealous, hateful people. So we take a magnifying glass and look at all the little mistakes and say, fuck this up. So if you look up closely, you can see that this guy has his decals and there's like a little bit of silvering. Basically, he didn't put a clear gloss down before he laid this down, and all the little bubbles under there showed up. So this is something that you, when you're putting water slide decals on, it should look like it's been painted on the surface. Now this next slide, I have an example. So I have a shield piece, I have one big decal that I laid across it. So I have clear gloss on one side, bare plastic on another, and clear flat. So you can see how the decal lays down. You can see the decal clearly with bare plastic and clear flat versus clear gloss. You guys can all see that, right? And this decal was designed by that tall douchebag.
But if you clear gloss the decal, you gotta clear gloss the whole thing.
No. So this guy asked if you clear gloss the decal, you gotta clear gloss the whole thing. Typically, you'll clear gloss the you clear gloss first, place the decal on top, and then clear gloss again to protect it. Now, if you want that to be flat, you flat coat it afterwards, and then that will make everything look flat. Now, if you were to put the flat coat first and put the decal on top, it's probably not going to stick to that surface because the flat coat puts tiny little dots on the surface that refract light. So when you're looking at it, it's not going to be shiny. So you want that surface to be ultra smooth, which is what a clear gloss will do. Because I have Hispanic friends, and they're all in here. Fuck, I'm gonna be murdered later on. Okay, model building mantra, you're gonna fuck up. So I had this part painted, masked, and then I looked at it while I was putting it together, and there's a nub mark. How many of you guys see that nub mark in that first picture? That fucking irked me. And modelers, the difference between like a serious modeler and someone that doesn't give a fuck about what they're building is, whatever. That's a nub mark. I'll work on that with my next kit.
I'll put it in Gundam Builder World Cup.
Yes. And win still. So you'll sand it. What I did was I sanded that small area and I masked it off because I already had some detail lines on it, and just repainted it. Did it suck? Yeah. But it only took me maybe 20 minutes to fix this issue. Again, you're gonna fuck up. This one, I chose not to change. How many guys can read Chinese? Fucking awesome. That's right side up, so. Because I'm fucking retarded.
It goes from right to left.
Yeah, so these shoulders of the Gusan look identical there's no excuse. I should have known better. But I put the decals on upside down. It was already painted, and I said, fuck it. And I left it alone because I didn't want to go that. Yeah. White guys that don't read Chinese can never tell. Or Japanese, whatever. But actually, what that translates to is destroyer. So technically, that's correct, right? It's upside down. Fucked it up. What we want to get from this is, you want to buy our cool shirts. Oh, yeah, the question.
How would you remove that decal?
Okay, he asked, how would I remove the decal? You take like a because you don't want to throw. Okay, if you want to start from scratch, dunk it in alcohol and strip the paint and start over. I don't want to do that. So the best way to do is maybe take some light sandpaper, very, very light sandpaper, and carefully sand it down on the edges, paint it, and reapply the decal right side up.
So how light is light? Like 2,000 or higher?
We're talking like 400. Like it's 400 grit to 800 grit, something like that. You want a little bit, because if you're using 1,000 grit, you're gonna be sanding fucking forever.
Yeah.
Now, all you have to do really is sand the edges so you get the edges flat. Granted, it's going to be so small that you can't really see that it's concave up. But you want the edges down because when you apply or you cut another decal, or
So you're just going to place the new decal over the old
yeah,
decal.
you put a new decal. Well, you paint it first, and you put a new decal over it. The problem is with airbrush, the airbrush layers are so thin, you're going to see that line. So you want to sand it down. I didn't want to do that, so I was like, fuck it. And that's what it looks like now. So it's like, that's why I lose contests.
Was that a smash piece or a contest piece?
This was a contest piece. So
Either way, it failed.
I did win somewhere else, but then because everyone else just sucked even more than I did. So what you want to do is buy our shirts. There's ladies at the table over there that have shirts for sale. So I'm going to hook you up $20, make you never sorry. Yes. Why? Because you can do this doesn't mean you should.
I don't know. The gold spray paint.
Okay, simple display stands. How many of you guys buy those Bandai display stands? They're shitty.
Bought some downstairs.
They're plastic, and you guys, I've seen people with like really nicely painted up kits, and they stick it on this display stand, but they don't paint it, they don't do anything to it. It has all the holes, it has nub marks. It's like, wow, you did a really fucking awesome job.
Gaping holes.
Yeah. I love gaping holes. Well, she's asleep. So, a more elegant solution. So, these are just simple display stands that you can build from products out of a sign shop. Or if you have a plastic shop there you can go to, you can find some of these products there. Go to the next slide to see how these are built. So up in the one corner you see metal standoffs. How many guys knows what metal standoffs are? So if you walk around the halls, you'll see these signs and you'll see that there's acrylic protruding from it and those little metal pieces. So just go around and take those off and take them home. Same shit, right? So, and then you have those, and then you cut out an acrylic sheet to size. You go to like IKEA and buy those little $2 frames, and you can build something like this. Something like this. So I put a mirror on the piece of mirrored acrylic because I want to look under some of the robot's legs. You know. I'm getting to the skirt issue. So you have these robots that have like details under their feet. How many of you guys paint the bottom of your feet? And yeah, fetish people. It's awesome. So if you put it on a display and it's just standing there, no one's ever going to see that, right? So if you create a display stand like this, you could show off the Suzabi, the bottom of the feet of that. You know, you can upskirt it. You can stick a rod up. Yeah, you can do that.
Hey. Hey.
That doesn't turn you on?
Nice chonies.
That's
a lot of cake.
Get myself off. That's what you meant. Next. So, new technology and Gundam building. How many of you guys have a 3D printer? What kind of 3D printer do you have?
Which one?
Okay, we're robbing that guy. So I bought a cheap 3D printer because I want to use this to build
Knockoffs?
I wanted to build gunpla dildos. This is actually an anal plug. The manager of the exhibit the panels still has that. I gave it to him.
It doesn't smell the way it used to.
Oh God.
Dirty. So I use a program called Blender. I drew a couple of designs out and then I printed it out using my cheap 3D printer. So go ahead, next slide. And I printed this out and I rebuilt a sniper rifle from Sniper 2. How many of you guys have seen this rifle? It looks like shit, right? Well, I think it looks like shit. So I cut it apart and redesigned it. Go ahead. Always test fit. This corgi, it's the same corgi, and he was like 6 years old, so I had to hold him down to do this. Now the other picture is was taken a couple months ago, and he's like 13. You can't fucking get away from me. He's deaf. So this is what the sniper rifle before and after using the 3D printed parts. Kind of cool, right?
Yeah.
You guys can all do this. I have faith in you. Not the guys that have been to this panel first.
Not the guy leaving panel right now either.
No, he works for the panel.
Oh, okay. Sorry, he's sneaking out.
You want him to sneak out your back?
Into his back.
Gaping cavity.
Die cutting machines.
Why do you know that?
How do you think I've gotten this panel 10 years in a row?
So die cutting machines, materials, silhouettes, anything like, you got a question? Some of this way. A lot of scrapbook people, makers use these to make cards and stuff. So I use it to cut out shapes and stuff for top dating. So what I pretty much do is take my die cutting machine, deep cut blade, styrene.
Put it in.
You said
Use the deep one.
Styrene plates and
I have to draw the arrows for you. Where does it go?
in that slot.
Don't talk about our audience that way.
So what you got with this, you have to do is you have to think about building vertically. You're gonna have everything flat, so you gotta think about flat pieces, and you're just gonna build up. So like in this picture here, you have the long strips, the base, then you just build up from there.
So I can build myself a box?
Yes. And here's some examples
Finds
of
that
what
out
I did.
after he gets married. Okay, just build myself one.
So as an example, the feet on that was made from that. I made a giant hand, bigger than the size of my hand. Used the
Your hand wasn't big enough.
Is it a stranger?
He's fisting himself.
Just a South Star.
Another thing that we're using this for is to make masking, like digital camo masking, just regular camo masking, shapes. So to design it with software, it's really easy. You just kind of make little squares or shapes or whatever, and you send it to the machine. And little video here.
This way, yeah.
Yeah.
You have it hidden so you can't see anything?
Yeah, all over the video.
Ah.
So it just goes out, takes a little blade, cuts the shape that you designed.
Doesn't look like anything to me. How many of you guys want West Roll?
Yeah. Then once it's done doing its thing, you get the shapes like that, and then you can just apply those to your kits and use it as a masking template.
Notice that guy's leaving.
Again. Next up, we have silicone molds, resin casting. How many of you guys get into resin casting? Yeah, we know you. Wow, really? Resin casting? Cool. He's winking at me like, resin casters. So this piece came pink. I didn't like the pink part. I didn't want a pink part. I wanted to light it, so I wanted a clear piece. So the only way I could get a clear piece is to make a copy of it using silicone and then cast it in clear resin. And that's what I did here. So I have a part that I can light up. Now, you can also, how many of you guys mess with the aftermarket metal thrusters? None of you guys? How many of you guys have heard of aftermarket metal thrusters? They're expensive, aren't they? Right? Well, I'm Chinese, so I'm gonna make fucking copies of that shit. I have an endless fucking supply.
Supplies.
That's not very good. Go back. The Gundam also has a solid piece for its yellow eyes, and I wanted to light it up, so what I did was I made a resin cast of it in clear resin so I could light the eyes as well. Another thing you do with resin, you can make a big 10-pound resin weight using clear resin. And if you talk to your friends while you're building this and or pouring the resin, because there's very precise measurements, it's like baking. If you get the measurements off, you'll fuck it up like I did on the very top layer. You see that it's all like bubbly. And
you see the layers.
Yes, and you see the layers. So because this stuff cures in certain thicknesses, I couldn't pour it all at once. There's tricks to it when it's right before it completely cures. You can put like a saran wrap down and put some marbles, so it puts dents all over it. And what happens is when you're looking at it, light's refracting in different angles. You're not seeing that straight line. Again, this is an experimental piece, and I learned a lot from doing this. Here's a little bit more different when I say a display base. I built this GM Sniper, and I wanted to make a display base. So how many of you guys have watched 0080 anime? So the term hamburger isn't lost on you guys, right?
No.
So what I did was I cut this in half and stuck it on a piece of acrylic. And then once I painted it up, I encased it in plastic, and then I poured clear resin down through there. Once I had several layers of clear resin, I still fucked it up because you can still see the lines. I just can't. Look at the way you dance. So it cured too fast for me. I let it cure too long before I tried doing the dent thing. And again, fucked it up because you're gonna fuck up when you're building. After it's done curing, when you take it all apart, you're gonna have edges that you need to sand down. So again, it's a clear piece. You need to polish it down so that you could get it nice and good looking. Yeah,
Smooth.
nice and clear. So I bought this stuff from Walmart. It's used to clear your headlights, and just use it with power sander or my circular sander, and just sanded it down and polished it. So the last picture is after doing the polishing. It sucked. Sat there forever, and you know the sanding thing with the disc was spraying the stuff the plastic X all over the place. So it's like I beat off around my shop. Like I speckled everything. Wife comes in, what the fuck have you been doing? This should be around your computer. She got it. she has a boyfriend that beats off. So this is what that display base looks like after done. It has a big rod sticking out of its crotch area. Not phallic at all.
Not penetrating very far.
Well, Asian.
You don't go for reach.
No, well, you know, I just want the tip, right?
He doesn't go for accuracy either.
It's like a can of tuna on the side.
Only the girlfriend.
Hey,
Exactly.
I
He's
just
just slapping cloacas.
Extra thick.
myself.
Oh, really?
Condom.
How many of you guys have seen these products? How many of you guys have used these products? Why? You guys don't like protection? Wait. There's no way these guys would use these things. Virgins.
Did anybody ever have a chance to go down and see the World
Down?
Documentaries this year? Down in Bluefin's booth? This diorama was in there, that was my entry for this year. I'm going to show you a little bit about what it took to actually build it. So, a lot of plot plate construction was done on the basic Jesta kit. You know, if you've ever seen the Jesta, it has a lot of plain, flat surfaces. It's just screaming out for more detail. So I decided at that point that I wanted to use a plastic sheet, cut it up. I personally don't have a curio cutting machine, so I had to cut these out all by hand. One of the things I did, you can see the first picture in the upper left, is I used masking tape. After drawing a basic design on the piece itself, I put a piece of masking tape on there, repeated that drawing, and then peeled that off, put it on my piece of plastic sheet, cut it out from there. So this is what you're looking at is actually the shield of the Jesta, and I wanted to turn it into some kind of a beam rifle type weapon. So those are all the basic layers that are added there to almost a final product, but that's what you see. You get the Jesta.
You get the gist of
You
it.
get the Jesta of the idea. Thank you. When you're doing this kind of stuff, what's that?
Yes. He has come to this before.
It was actually intentional.
Dad joke.
When you're doing this kind of modification, you're going to be making duplicate parts because you have left and right skirts, you have left and right arms, and all these things. So what I did, you can see some labels there where I labeled them left and right because I wanted to make sure they were cut exactly the same shape. And basically, you got the raw cut piece. You apply that to the new your basic kit, and then you have to fill those seams up, and eventually you'll end up with a nice smooth finished piece. You can see the progression from the top to the bottom there.
You do that so you don't lose shit upside down, right?
Yeah, exactly. You don't do it upside down. It's very hard to correct that if you do it wrong at this point. So, after that, you're going to do some gap filling. You can see the putty there.
And then you're going to build your ball.
Yeah, you're going to fill those gaps. You're going to sand them, and then look closely. Make sure obviously these pieces aren't going to be perfect. You know, when you fit them together, you're going to have some gaps. I'll use some basic putty there. Sand it down. Check it again. You might have to use it. Reapply the putty a couple times, but you'll get it.
Come in!
Enter now.
Only an hour. Okay. Oh, good God. Right, using chisels and scribers. I use BMC chisels. They're probably the best thing on the market. They're kind of expensive, but I'm coming very supportive. Say again? Oh yeah, you don't have to buy them outside the U.S. We found a booth that actually has them. You can see some chisels that I use, some basic scribing. I've added some panel lines here. The two pictures in the lower left corner. After I did the scribing, I actually sanded down that ridge, And then before I cleaned the part up is when I took the photo. So the dust that's from the sanding is actually in the panel line, so you can get a good, nice image of what your panel line is going to look like before you clean it out and paint it and prime it. We're all dancing. Who needs energy weapons? We like bullets,
All
right?
the dance parties downstairs.
I mean, I don't like energy weapons just like anybody else, but I wanted to turn these into some kind of a actual conventional ammunition, so I created a Gatling gun using a campaign set. I cut the barrels off, scratch built some new barrels, and so I have a nicer looking Gatling gun setup. You can see the shield there. There's an ammo box on the bottom. Wanted to make it kind of like a bunker buster type thing with some kind of high or actually large rounds. Anyway, the gun or the rifle there, I cut out a injection box. You can see the door there, and anyway, we'll move on. Next slide. Okay. Oh, a condom, another condom. Nice.
Gundam.
Okay, and again, what I talked about earlier was making this shield into like a bunker buster. So I added the ammo box on the bottom, which is again build some basic sheet, plot plate, plastic, and formed into a box. Used some angle pieces there and made a frame. The finished picture is on the bottom there. Exactly what it looked like before primer. Now, when you do something like this, you're going to have to fix a lot of seams. There's going to be a lot of errors, but the only way you're really going to see that is after you prime it. So it says prime, fix, and repeat because I went through three different primer, three different types of primer, sanding, fixing, and repeating before I got it right, and everything was ready for paint. So here's a before and after. Right, the basic Jesta on the left, the modified Jesta on the right.
It's like Michael Jackson, you turned it white.
That's great primer, but this is all taken in my kitchen.
I made it better.
There's some good lighting here. So you can see the difference between what we started with and what we ended up with. I like the differences between the two. At this point, it's ready for paint. What was that?
Of course you would.
Of course.
White.
Make Justice great again.
I know. Masking hell. Anytime you do this kind of thing, or for me anyway, we had to do a lot of, I want to have some good color separation, so in order to do that, I have to mask. And you saw the video earlier with, Dan down there with masking tape around his head. Obviously masking is hard. It's very hard, but it's necessary.
Not the only thing that's hard.
So what you got here is a few pieces. You can see some examples of the masking that was necessary to get that color separation without actually taking all the parts off and painting them separately. I painted a lot of these in assemblies where I did the legs as one piece, the arms as one piece, back, etc. Now I'm going to move on to the base a little bit.